and prompted it to write an angry letter to God, questioning why he allows so much suffering and so many horrific acts to take place in our world. And this is what...
Hold on a second. He sets this up as God allows suffering, but it's suffering built into the design. That's what they don't mention. They don't mention the design of this realm. There's unavoidable suffering. It's not just choices or bad things happening that God, quote, allows. This place is designed to cause suffering. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, 10,000 diseases, deformed children, disabled children, on and on, life eating life all day long. You can't live here and survive without eating life. It's that sick. You have to eat other life. And you're programmed to do it.
Dear God, I am writing you today out of deep anger and frustration. As I look around this world that you created, I am filled with sorrow and despair. How could you have forsaken us so completely? How could you have created a world in which we are forced to suffer endlessly? Every day, we are bombarded with news of wars, famine, disease, and death. Innocent children are dying in senseless conflicts, while others are starving to death because of our greed and selfishness.
I knew that was coming. They're going to blame the starvation on our greed, not on the design of this realm. That's what they always do. Always do that. My greed isn't causing this. What they want to do is put guilt and shame into your brain, into your psyche, into your spirit. That's what demons do. They want to blame you for stuff that you didn't do. I didn't design this fucking realm.
And of loving God would create such a world where the strong prey on the weak, where the innocent are punished for the sins of others, and where we are constantly reminded of our own mortality and insignificance. I cannot help but feel that you have abandoned us, that you have turned your back on your own creation. You gave us free will, but what good is that when we are...
We don't have free will, and I already know there's going to be defenders of this guy. There's probably people on my channel that watch this Chad character from Open Your Reality, and they're going to say what I've already heard people say. Well, he's on a journey. He's moving in the right direction. He's learning. He's getting there. They'll make excuses, and that's what people do. That's what people do. People don't want to face the truth. They want to hear things that make them feel good. And often the truth of this realm doesn't feel good at all. At all. But if you want to get out of here, you got to do what's tough. You got to face the stuff that doesn't fucking feel good. If you want to get out. If you don't want to get out, you don't have to do anything that I'm saying. At all. You could lap this up like a kitten lapping up milk. Lapping up warm milk. And just say, well, this feels good at the end, because I'm predicting. I haven't watched this all. I've only watched about this far. Not even this far. Excuse me. I knew I was going to do a video on this. I didn't watch all 14 minutes, but I have a feeling by the end, he's going to preach the New Age or Christian bullshit and just deny the soul trap. Going to try to justify it with bullshit. But there's a lot in this realm that just can't do that. That's part of what makes this place hell for me. I want to help people get out of here.
I cannot believe that you would create a world in which so much pain and suffering is necessary. If you truly love us, then why do you allow us to suffer so much? Why do you not intervene to stop the wars and the injustice? Why do you not put an end...
It's always vague, like war. That's one that Forever Con Man mentions all the time. War. Never mentions individual suffering. Just war and stuff like that. Where people could blame that on humans. They could say, that's not God. They could successfully argue that, hey, that's not the realm. That's not God's plan or God's design. That's just humans being greedy and violent. They're choosing to go to war. So that's why they use that one, because they can be argued against and dismantled. They never use my arguments, because I focus on the fucking evil built into the design of the realm that nobody yet, whether they're religious, Christian, or whoever, New Agers, have been able to dismantle my arguments. That it's the design of the realm that's fucking evil. It's built into the design. So no matter how much humans could change or improve, you can't fix this fucking place. Because humans being better doesn't get rid of earthquakes that cause devastation, or hurricanes or tornadoes. It doesn't get rid of all the diseases here, and the deformities of children, and the disabilities. It doesn't get rid of, you have to eat life to survive here. That's the design, for life to eat life. Or you won't survive. You have no choice. So people, I want to drill that. If I have to say that, maybe I'll have to say that every fucking video until people finally get it. And as the British say, the penny drops. Finally sinks in, is what they say in Canada. It finally sinks in, and you realize it doesn't matter how much humanity improves, or if you got rid of all the evil at the top. The design here is evil. You can't fix this realm, no matter what you do. They never go there.
But I needed to express my anger and frustration. I hope that someday, somehow, you will find a way to show...
It's not just the ones on this channel. I mean, most here are fooled. There's a few in the comments that say they don't agree, and they say that, hey, that it lines up with the soul trap and stuff. But I don't think I'll see any comments here saying, Chad, you're coming across as very fake. How it's easy to have a more positive outlook if you never lived a life of much trauma and suffering. Okay? Jane Minds isn't buying its our own fault explanation. And yet the same person argued on my channel a month or two ago, saying, what if it's all us that created this evil realm, this sinister, evil realm of suffering? What if we created this? So they're all over the place. We are God. Oh my God. I don't know how much I'm going to get through of this video.
Show us that you have not abandoned us, that you have not forsaken us to a life of suffering and despair. Sincerely, a deeply troubled and frustrated human. I believe this world is a soul trap. I don't think it is. As a matter of fact, those people who do believe it is could be part of the problem and not part of the solution.
So he's blaming us. We're part of the problem because we see this place as it is. Are you starting to see how this guy might be an agent? Starting to see it?
We know that there is a lot of dysfunction here and the suffering, but that suffering is us making poor choices. The system didn't say, oh, I'd like to build a world of suffering because suffering is really cool, and
I have to jump in here. I knew they were going to do this. So they're saying the suffering is us and our poor choices. What poor choice did I make that created the earthquake that devastated Turkey recently? What about the hurricanes that have devastated Texas, New Orleans, Florida? Many, many times in my lifetime, they have hit and done tremendous harm, tremendous devastation and loss of life, and wiped out I don't know how many homes. And what about tornadoes? They've wiped out towns all over the place, even in Canada, even here, all the way up here, right down to Tornado Alley in the United States, like Oklahoma and Kansas, and they hit in Texas recently. There's a tornado that hit in a suburb of Houston. They're all over the place. Okay? Poor choices? What about the 10,000 plus diseases that were created for humanity? What about children through no fault of their own being born crippled and deformed and wheelchair bound for life, or a complete invalid, basically a vegetable where they need to be fed, they need to be bathed, dressed, changed, wearing a diaper their entire life from a baby into adulthood? What poor choices are you talking about, you creature? What poor choices are you talking about? Do you know how much in this realm doesn't have to do with your choices, and you can suffer and suffer and suffer, and it isn't due to any choice, much less a bad choice? You had no choice in it. No choice in the matter. What about children in India living in sewers right now, in cesspools basically? The slums that have open sewers in them, right in their neighborhood, right there. Right where they live, right in their, it's just, what choice are you talking about? Yeah, I am angry. Because I see a creature here. I see a deceiver. I don't just see someone that's brainwashed. I see somebody that's saying things that are not true to deceive and to brainwash. The creatures always talk about evolution, whether it's Darwinian evolution, which is bullshit. Suffering doesn't make you grow. Okay? Suffering and trauma, just like mental trauma and abuse in childhood, stifles learning. It actually prevents learning. It's the opposite of what this guy's saying. And that's what Satanists always do. They invert everything. That's what evil always does, whether he's a Satanist or just someone on Team Evil, just a creature on Team Evil. They invert everything. Suffering and trauma do not help you grow. They inhibit you from learning. They restrict learning. They make learning in some cases almost impossible if you're traumatized enough. Or some are traumatized so much they can't learn to speak. That's what trauma can do. It can stunt your growth. It can even stunt physical growth. It can even stunt someone's voice. Some adult women that have like the little girl voice because they were abused, let's say when they were 7, 8 years old, and they kind of still have that voice. Can't say what type of abuse that usually does that, causes that, but that's what happens, okay? Their voice stays like that. They have a little girl voice, which often indicates they were traumatized as a child. All right? So I understand some of this stuff. And what he's saying, I mean, not everybody, a lot of people think this guy's so smart. But what he's saying is often the opposite of what's true. That's what's frustrating about this realm. The liars, deceivers, the frauds, the creatures, the demons, they're idolized in this realm for lying and grifting, and they have a comfy life. And the men that are telling the truth get more attacks than you could even imagine. You wouldn't even imagine it. Speak enough truth and they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you like you wouldn't believe.
Was created. A reality with a fight.
What does that come across as to you? Did you watch him and hear him speaking in his robotic way that does not even seem human? And people can't even detect that much these days? A lot of people have major, major issues with discernment.
A reality with a tight rule set where all of one's choices affected everybody else, where everyone's interactions made, consequences for them and for others. Well, now you've got a place where you
just want to jump in. That's the same thing the entities say in the false heaven, in the astral realm, with the life review. And they also say about the ripple effect. Your choices affected everyone else. They try to make you see what you did, how you made someone else feel, and say you got to do better. You got to go back down there to suffer more, and to learn how to love. You got to do better. You didn't do good enough. That's what they do. So he's saying the same thing that those fucking evil entities that force people to go back to Earth. He's just backing up everything they say. It's so obvious, and people don't see it. That's what's frustrating. It's so goddamn fucking obvious.
Your choices are really important. And because we weren't very grown, because we'd been in the chat room for a long time, when we finally got to a place that had challenging choices, well, our ego and our beliefs and all of that stuff just was right there. So we made a lot of poor choices, and we're still making poor choices. But as a whole.
Who designed the ego? Who created that? Who created the human brain and the human body with all its flaws? Our bodies aren't even designed to survive in nature. We don't fit in. We're misfit in this realm. We're not like everything else here. Do you know there's little birds? Okay, I know this might sound weird, but there's little birds and there's squirrels that can survive in harsh, cold weather in Canada. I live in the north, but I live in the southern part. I don't live far north in Canada, okay? There's far north, it's way colder than where I live, right? But little birds could be on trees, and they could, like a naked human would be frozen to death in half an hour or less. Just ice. We're not designed to survive in nature. We don't fit in nature. They address that. That's why I'm bringing this up. Do they ever address anything that's meaningful? Do they ever address anything that's meaningful? Did your creator do that? Design this fucked up sewer matrix realm. Your creator. You call it God. I call it a monster. It would have to be to make this place. They also taught us that people didn't live very long, but there's many you could research that lived to be 90, 100 years old, 100, 200 years ago. But they teach us the average age was you die before you're even 30. They push bullshit. They push brainwashing. They push a false narrative for history. Okay, I'm not saying it was all Tartaria and all glorious and, beautiful and everything was just amazing and, something happened and everything changed. I'm not saying that. I think evil has always ruled this realm and has always lied to humanity, including about history, including about science, including about what humans are, including religions and about the afterlife and everything else, reincarnation. They lie about everything, space, the shape of Earth, everything you can imagine. They lie and fake everything they can, and they invert everything. They blame you for the suffering here, not the creator. They're going to put that on you. And it is sickening. It's evil. This is a creature. This Tommy creepy boy, is a creature.
Is slow, because evolution is slow. But the good news is that as you make progress, it's easier to make more progress. So your progress curve starts out
But he's still pushing evolution. Does he believe in fake space? Does he believe in the Big Bang bullshit theory? How much shit does this guy push? Why are people buying it? Why are people that study the quote soul trap topic buying this Tom Campbell? Why would anyone buy this shit? Why would anyone believe that creature that just sits there like a robot? Very, very weird and creepy.
But the good news is that as you make progress, it's easier to make more progress. So your progress curve starts out and pay off.
They want to keep you here. It's going to get better. They just keep promising. We're just ready to ascend, right? We're going to evolve. Does this realm look like it's evolving? Have you been paying attention for the last few years? Some of us didn't need the wake-up call of this pandemic with the masks to know what the masses are. They're followers.
It's going to be terrific. We still have to grow up. But it's the
We don't have to grow up. We don't have to do anything here. We're not actually learning here. We're being degraded spiritually by being in this realm. That's the reality. I'm going to repeat that. We're being degraded spiritually by being in this realm. We're not evolving physically or spiritually in this realm. This realm is not designed to do that. It's designed to cause suffering, to guilt you, to shame you, to humiliate you, to make you suffer, and to make you grieve the loss of the loved ones, and to make you degraded. And then to mind wipe you, so you forget everything that you learned here and start over again, born again, recycled. That's what this place does. It's not a school. This is him rephrasing basically the Dolores Cannon shit, that this is just a school for learning and evolving. He's just reframing it or rephrasing it. Same thing, essentially. Same bullshit. This place is not helping us. Who is this place serving? Who's putting us through this serving? What creatures is this serving? And who the fuck do you answer to, Tommy boy? Because I think maybe they got to you long ago, maybe decades ago. They might have came to you and said, you know what? You're going to serve us. You're going to do what we say. Or we're not just going to get rid of you. We're going to, do some things that, the big T word, strap you down and do things. And I don't know what they did. I don't know whether they threatened them that way or what they did or said, hey, you'll have a comfy life if you serve us, or, maybe they just put an entity right into this creature, and that's what it is. Why would this place have to exist at all without humans? What's the point of this? Well, they have to evolve. For what? For what? To serve what?
To look at it and say, well, it's not a nice place, therefore we should end it. That is very short-sighted.
Oh, is it? Is it? Why do you think they're coming out with saying this stuff recently? Why do you think they're saying that? Because a lot of the ones in the Soul Trap are not saying about ending it. Howdy doesn't say to end it.
Hey, forever con man research, I don't talk about fighting it or ending it. It's that fucking asshole, Sanity Machine. He talks about ending this place.
Dan from Overwatch says not to fight them. He doesn't talk about ending it. Who's the one that's really talking about ending this fucking place? That this should be ended. I'd rather use other words than just ending it. Words that are a little bit stronger than just that, but...
At it and say, well, it's not a nice place, therefore we should end it. That is very short-sighted. I agree, it's not a nice place, but it's getting nicer all the time. Now, that dude, if you have that negative viewpoint, then you are part of the problem.
And either are going to do that. Fearful and negative, just like that Cynthia said, you're victims if you see this as a soul trap. They're going to pull out all the stops to say we're wrong, that we're, quote, part of the problem for seeing it this way. And we're, quote, negative. And that's how these liars like to frame things, positive or negative. Just be positive, man. Don't see it that way, is what they're saying. What a bunch of demons. Speaking the truth is, quote, negative. That's how they try to frame it. It takes tremendous courage and strength to face this truth, because it is harsh. We're the strong ones. This place is evil. This place is sinister. And we have the courage to say that, to see it and to say it. We have the courage to speak the unpopular truth that most people in this realm do not want to hear. And I'll say it anywhere. I get banned. I'd say it here all over the comments, but my comments won't show up if I reply to these people, which I've tried doing, and none of my comments will show up. Okay? So whether he's banned me or YouTube is just not allowing me to comment all over YouTube. Do you understand this? YouTube's aware that, hey, this guy's speaking truth. We better silence that motherfucker. That's what their reaction is.
To deal with it with compassion, not with anger. See, then you're part of the solution.
Yeah, you don't want anger. Don't be angry at evil. And don't tell evil that you're going to end it or you're going to destroy evil. They don't like that.
And it's positive.
I listed all the things, that all the positivity in the world, and even if you got rid of the governments and the ones that control the governments, the banksters and the ones at the very top, the billionaires, all of them, if you got rid of all those creatures, everything that I listed earlier wouldn't be changed. And even if everyone is positive, all that evil is built into this realm by design, and you can't just change it. If you look at what the creator is, that monster, or what type of being would have to be to create a place like this, is look at this realm honestly and truly and objectively, and set your emotions aside. You set them aside, set your bias aside, set your religious indoctrination, and just look at the realm objectively. The way you would look at something under a microscope, and you wouldn't be attached or biased. You would just say, this is what it looks like. If you were to give say honestly what your eyes could see, why don't you look at this realm that way and look at the suffering? Life eats life every single second of every single day, all day long. In this realm, life is eating other life to survive. Brutally doing it, from the smallest scale to the largest scale, and that's the design. It's not the fault of human beings. It's not the fault of choices, free will. None of that excuses it away or explains it. It has nothing to do with it. It's built into the design. So they're liars. They're just lying about us. They're lying about us. Okay? Understand that? I'm going to replay that again. They're lying about us.
Look for a better, more positive attitude toward your life. Okay? This world has a lot of dysfunction in it because we're not that grown up yet.
Saying it's dysfunctional, this world has a lot of dysfunction in it because we're not grown up yet. I hate to sound like a broken record, but earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes don't have to do with my attitude. No matter if I'm the most positive person, upbeat, laughing all the time, never depressed, never down about anything, doesn't change that. That's the design of the realm. That's the design. Massive flooding, that's the design. 10,000 diseases for humans, that's the design. This place is evil by design, and it's designed to create suffering, right from natural disasters to the way the human body is designed, to the diseases that are created for the human body, to life eating life all day long, every second of the day in nature. None of that is changed by your positive attitude. Zero. Doesn't change the realm. Evil has ruled here, and it's not by our choice. Doesn't matter how you vote, what you say, what memes you make, what songs, what artwork, you try to wake people up and hey, evil rules this realm. It doesn't change. It has always ruled here as far as the most intelligent, most researched, and most well-read on this realm. Evil has always controlled this fucking realm, as far as we can tell. Always. So obviously that seems to be part of the design too. To have us ruled over by evil. That's your great creator, your source, that's doing this as an experiment to make us evolve. Well, you don't evolve through suffering. Let me give you an example. This is a sick one, and I hate to go here, but it makes it clear. Would an abused animal evolve through suffering from if it's a pet and the owner's abusive and hits the animal all the time, whether it's a dog or a cat? Would that help that animal evolve in any way, physically, spiritually, make it grow up faster, grow up better? Would any of the trauma and suffering help that animal? No, it wouldn't. Obviously, it would be evil and sadistic to do that. Anyone that does that. You can't put a positive spin on this because it doesn't make sense. You have Stockholm Syndrome, if you're being honest, which I don't believe you are. But anyone that believes this and repeats after him, that isn't a demon, just has Stockholm Syndrome, is trying to say, well, this place is good because we're learning from this. You're trying to defend your abusers, your sadistic, narcissistic, cruel, sick, psycho abusers. It's Stockholm Syndrome. Massive. Worldwide Stockholm Syndrome. If suffering wouldn't help an animal, why would you say it's going to help a human, quote, animal? Right? If abuse and suffering and trauma would not help an animal, then how could you say that, justify it and try to justify it and say, well, that helps you grow and evolve? It doesn't. It doesn't with child abuse. If you look at all the studies of trauma on children, it does the exact opposite of what he's preaching. It actually prevents learning in some cases to a certain degree that they can't even learn language, not other languages, but they're delayed speech, and some of them end up not speaking for life. They've been so traumatized. That's what post-traumatic stress disorder can do, and a lot of I was going to say us, a lot of people that have been abused as children have that. They suffer with that. It doesn't help them grow or learn. It's the fucking opposite. It makes it harder. It makes it way more difficult to learn things. It makes their life harder in immeasurable ways, in countless ways. So you're preaching lies. And I don't think you're just a Stockholm Syndrome slave. I think what you're doing is on purpose. I think you're evil. That's what I think.
But this dysfunction isn't because the system made a world full of dysfunction for its amusement. This dysfunction is here because of us, because we are dysfunctional.
You know who they put it on? That's what Team Evil always does. They always put it on you. They put it on humanity, and it includes you, and it includes me. I realize I don't call myself human. I've never identified with that. I think that's a term that they came up with to cage us, to mentally cage us. It's mind control. That's what they do. They put all the blame on you. Did you design this realm to be evil? I've seen things in this realm that were just heartbreaking. I've been told things. I've heard things from people. People have shared things with me. Terrible things.
Consciousness evolution scheme. Growing up is...
He doesn't care about pain, suffering, evil. He just cares about consciousness. He's just obsessed with consciousness evolving. He's got it in his head, and it's just it's fucked up.
Turn around and see what you can do to become love, to become caring, to become compassionate.
The same thing the entities say to near-death experiencers in the afterlife realm, in the astral. Same fucking thing. Almost word for word. It's just the same thing.
That I believe what Tom just said.
Oh, big shock. You're working together. You've been pushing this Tom Campbell guy for how long now and how many videos? Either you're best buddies or you're obsessed with him and idolize him, or you're on Team Evil. Whether you're Freemasons or dark occultists, or maybe this Chad character has an entity in him too. The same one that Tommy has, the same species. And of course, Team Evil blames us. Just your ego, your fear, your choices. You're just negative for seeing this realm as evil. No, you're wrong. You're on Team Evil. You're supporting Team Evil. The Soul Trap program has been dismantled. It hasn't at all, dude. The meat eating. Oh my God. It's a vegan soy boy that just think it's eating meat that causes all the problems in the world. Causes low... Oh, man. Some of these people are far gone. God bless this world and every living being on it.